Mr. Sajid,
Yes.
can you check in YouTube? It's live now because I am not able to get. I'm just clicked the link, but it's not streaming now. Can you check in your mobile?
Yeah, sir. Now it is started streaming, sir.
It may take time.
Yeah, it will take 20 minutes, 20 seconds delay will be there, sir. Just wait.
Sir, you can start.
You have 2 more minutes.
Mr. Sajid, I'm not. I'm going to share the screen. Okay.
Okay, sir. Sure.
Start, sir.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, a very fine good evening to you all. Dear all, as you know that all we are here for the topic for the live webinar on post-COVID challenges and opportunities. Let me start this webinar with a very familiar quote that you might have heard hundreds and thousands of times. You might be thinking, why should I start if the quote is that much of familiar to you? I will tell you why I should start with this quote. As you know that we have heard many times, a poor teacher will be talking in the classroom, an average teacher will be explaining, a good teacher will be demonstrating, and a great teacher will be inspiring. Dear all, I would like to redefine this predefined saying we have heard hundreds of times, because life is about redefining what we already heard as predefined. If we are continuing with a predefined text, nothing will happen in the life. But when we start ourselves to redefine the concept, the text, whatever we are learned, then only the changes will be starting in the life. So the saying what I have told you just now, I would like to redefine in my perspective that a poor teacher will be always clattering in front of obstacles, whereas an average teacher will be changing that obstacles into challenges. A good teacher will be changing the challenges into opportunities. But a great teacher will always change all the opportunities into success. I'm sure that all the teachers, those who are here with us in this stream, they are great teachers and they are always changing their opportunities into success. No doubt, with this topic, we can go ahead. Dear all, I would like to go ahead with this webinar. Before that, for your kind information, I would like to put up few of the information. It's only as an information you can take it. No need to take it as ground rules. First of all, please note that there will be a question and answer session at the end of the panel discussion, and the participants can drop your questions only during the question answer session in the chat box. Kindly avoid chatting while the session is going on. And as you know, the live telecast is going on in YouTube and Facebook. Dear all, as we know that for every bird, there is a shelter to come back and to take rest at the end of the day. After a long day's journey, the birds used to come back in the nest and to take rest with the family. For all the principals in Doha-Qatar, we have also have a shelter, a nest. It's called CBSE Girl Sahodaya Qatar chapter. We are so fortunate to have many experienced, well-efficient principals in this chapter, and we are supported and we are always with a group of dedicated and sincere teachers in this platform. And always this Qatar chapter used to provide a lot of service to the Indian community for molding the future generations of our home country by conducting different types of teachers empowerment programs. In this occasion, I do I want to just show one simple picture for your kind information, because I believe this will talk more about the policy that we are following in this Qatar chapter. Or we people, we believe in growing together, and always we are ready to help each other so that we can overcome any challenges in our life. I do acknowledge in this time the presence of CBSE Girl Sahodaya Chairman Dr. Subhash B. Nair, the principal of Shantiniketan Indian School in Doha, Qatar. And by taking this opportunity without further ado, I would like to invite the Qatar chapter convener, Mrs. Hamida Kadir. Hamida ma'am, as you know, that is a known person to everyone. She is the principal of one of the biggest school here in Doha, and it's my pleasure to request Hamida ma'am to give the formal welcome speech. Please, ma'am, over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Shibu, for that comprehensive report on our Qatar chapter. Once again, good evening to everyone present here. Challenges are the litmus test for our ability to deal with crisis. They are opportunities in disguise. As we all know that the COVID pandemic has left behind trails of uncertainty and stressful times for the entire humanity, impacting adversely on our health, on social and economic conditions. The fallout of the crisis has made us execute meticulous preparedness to resolve future existential threats and carry out the course of action in a more systematic way by leveraging the opportunities that the crisis has offered. I am sure we will brave the post-COVID challenges with optimism, efficiency, and expertise. At the outset, I'd like to extend my heartiest congratulations to the CBSE Gulf Sahodia Qatar chapter and its chairperson, Dr. Subhash Nair, Principal, Shanti Niketan Indian School, whose commitment and zeal has yielded in a series of successful webinars. A warm welcome to you, sir. As a chapter convener, I deem it an honor and privilege to extend a warm welcome to you all for yet another fruitful session in which panelist, our moderator, are all the principals representing various prestigious CBSE schools of Qatar. They will present their views on post-COVID challenges and opportunities. I take exceptional pleasure in welcoming all the other principals, vice principals, invitees, and teachers of CBC schools to this splendid occasion. I also welcome all our dynamic panelists who are here with unlimited enthusiasm to present their worthy thoughts and affirm that in the middle of every crisis lies an opportunity. I wish you all a wonderful session ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Hamida ma'am, for your wonderful words and your blessings with us as ever. We are all, let me introduce myself. I am Shibu Abdul Rashid. As you know, that moderator will not be introduced by anybody, and it's my responsibility to introduce all the panelists. So it's my pleasure to introduce myself. As I mentioned, my name, I'm Shibu Abdul Rashid. I am one of the teacher in Noble International School. And by virtue of service, I have been serving as the principal of Noble International School for the last 5 years. As you know that we have got 4 eminent panelists here. They are worth enough to talk on the topic what we have chosen for today's webinar. We will be going ahead one after other, and as know, it's my responsibility to introduce the first speaker for today's program. And it's a non-person for all of us, Mr. Jacob KM. He is the principal of Olive International School. To introduce him, it's my pleasure because he's the right person to be introduced on this platform. Mr. Jacob KM is known in the educational fraternity as a committed holistic educator, an inspiring team leader, and a school administrator par excellence. Over the years, he has held leadership at premier and other reputed national and international boarding schools. He bagged Excellence in School Education Award in 2019 as the Educationist of the Year at the House of Commons, British Parliament, London. 251 Fabulous Global Education Leaders Award presented by World Education Congress was bagged by him in 2019. He was also awarded with the Jewel of India Award for Outstanding Achievements by Indian Solidarity Council in 2007. Eminent Citizen of India Award for Outstanding Achievements by the International Institute of Education and Management was conferred to him in 2002. In his career highlights, to mention a few, he represented Brothers of St. Patrick at Ireland in 1998, Kenya in 2004, and in India in 2010 for its general chapter, which is its highest body. He is a member of governing body at Ladita Roy Foundation of India that look after special needs children. He was an educational coordinator of the Society of the Brothers of St. Patrick and managed 25 institutions. He was the chairman of the organizing committee of the World Bicentenary of the Patrician Society in 2009. No doubt, he is the right person to have a wonderful talk here. Sir, the name of the whole Qatar chapter, I would like to invite you, I would like to ask you to continue and to take over the session. Please, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Shibu, for that introduction. If you can let me share the screen, I would be happy. Yeah. Good evening to one and all. Opportunities in post-COVID scenario. And that's the topic that I'm going to talk about this evening. What was our reaction when the government ordered the schools to be closed and start online classes? Some of us thought, oh, it may be for a month or two and schools will reopen. Had hopes. Then we heard it may take a year or two till we find a vaccine. Our hopes dashed. In the midst of all these dilemmas, teachers were generous. They adapted and ensured that teaching learning continued with the technology known to us. And some of us may not have explored the utility of it in the past. Example, Google Meet, Google Classroom, Zoom, WebEx, etc. Now it has become part of us, and I'm sure we are not going to get rid of it altogether when we begin regular classes. It is going to be a blended approach. This leads me to the first point of my presentation. Blended learning will become the reality. The classroom will be supplemented by online coursework. This way, students may be required to physically attend classes on fewer days and will be free to study at their own pace. This will also give them adequate time to assimilate information. My colleague, Mr. Shaukat Ali, will talk to you in detail about blended learning. Teacher collaboration will grow and help improve learning. I hope we come out of this crisis stronger by collaborating and working together. One of the most important things teachers can do now is draw on what the others are doing. Form community online, share the burden, and make things a bit easier. Collaboration with stakeholders. Setting up effective communication and forming a team are very powerful tools in helping children be successful in school. Children spend most of their time at home and in school. When teachers and parents are allies and teammates, their combined influence on children is very powerful indeed. This crisis will help us come together across boundaries. I think it's an opportunity for the education sector to unite, forge connections across countries and continents, and truly share what works in a global way. I don't think prior to this crisis that we have been able to do this, and we will have missed a big opportunity if we don't try to do that now. Teachers and schools will receive more respect, appreciation, and support for their important role in society. I think it will be easier to understand that schools aren't just buildings where students go to learn and that teachers are irreplaceable. There is something magic about that in-person connection, that bond between teachers and their students. Mind you, presently we are second-line warriors after doctors and nurses. Soon we may be front-line warriors when the school reopens in September. Training of teachers will be qualitatively different. Training of all the teachers is a situation where it has to be continuously evolving. Classrooms, schools, and universities will all be different for some time. And we are going to experience a new model of education. The concept of classrooms would change drastically. Online classes, virtual classes, and physical classes would be the three modes that would be used. All the teachers will have to be trained for online teaching. This will go a long way to ensure that they are comfortable with technology and will be able to seamlessly switch between online and offline modes of teaching the curriculum. And above all, teachers will feel empowered to deliver a more impactful lecture than before. Use of artificial intelligence will help personalize the learning experience for every child. Soon, educators will have to discard the one-size-fits-all approach that is mostly followed in traditional classrooms and use technology to offer a learning experience that is uniquely suited to child's learning needs. The blended approach to learning, in turn, will help all types of students, since they will have the opportunity to engage with the different types of content, such as video, audio, presentations, thereby increasing the ability to personalize learning. Redefining the role of a teacher. With information readily available just a click away, the role of a teacher from that of a knowledge giver will gradually move to one of a facilitator in the development of learners and helping them to become lifelong learners. Technology will be used effectively to reduce the time spent by teachers on tasks such as evaluating and grading. This will help the teachers focus more effectively on teaching and course improvement. Unlocking technology and content to deliver. The pandemic has hastened our use of technology. Teachers have learned new applications and conferencing apps like Google Meet, Google Classrooms, Zoom, WebEx, etc. with amazing speed. These popular apps are used for conducting interactive classes. Many channels are already webcasting popular classes on various subjects. Television channels can also reach out to students in a better way, since they can telecast video, multimedia contents, and audio simultaneously. Diksha, another project by the Ministry of Human Resources Development, Government of India, to empower teachers in the digital environment. This is a digital infrastructure for knowledge sharing. It conducts various courses for teachers for their systematic progression in their noble profession. Teaching aids like concept videos, lesson plans, etc. can be accessed from Diksha, and teachers can easily upload educational resources created by them for the use of others. Several universities and educational institutions have recently started experimenting with video lectures and webinars. National Repository of Open Educational Resources was established in 2013 by Ministry of Human Resource Development and developed by NCERT. This is also an open source platform for digital resources for classes 1 to 12. Video, audio, document, and interactive contents are available online. National Initiative for School Heads and Teachers Holistic Advancement is an effective program to train the heads of the schools, resource persons, and teachers at the elementary school level. This is a capacity building program introduced. SWAM is a program initiated by the Government of India aimed at offering everyone easy access to high quality digital aids and resources. It has 4 quadrants: video lecture, specially prepared reading material, self-assessment tests, and an online discussion forum for clearing doubts. Swayam Prabha gives instruction through a group of 32 DTH channels. One can access a large volume of digital resources from YouTube and other social media platforms. YouTube is the largest source of digital learning materials. Many institutes are conducting classes using YouTube, which can be accessed by learners round the clock. At the global level, there are quality, massive open online courses, such as edX and Coursera. edX, founded by Harvard and MIT, is home to more than 20 million learners. More than 60 million people are already learning on Coursera. There are thousands of courses from traditional subjects to the latest areas of artificial intelligence. Many of them take no fees, except for certification. The pandemic has made technology an essential requirement for all the teachers. The main objective is to transform the role of the teacher to digital platform. Perhaps COVID-19 is a blessing in disguise that sets the ball rolling for a revolution in teaching and learning, a long felt need indeed. In conclusion, I would like to say, face-to-face interaction in classroom teaching will take time to return, and almost surely it will return with the new norms such as blended mode or with changes in student-teacher ratio so as to maintain proper social distancing. Meanwhile, we can use this time to experiment and deploy new tools and technology to make education meaningful to students who are not able to go to campuses. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you so much for your. I think there was some voice interruption between. Is it clear, audible properly?
Yep, yep.
Thank you so much, Jacob sir, for your wonderful words of wisdom. No doubt, the torch that you have showed to us definitely will be guiding all the people who have joined in this session. And the one of the main takeaway, what I felt, one of the main takeaway, I just write it down. The main takeaway, what I felt from your discussion is that you have highlighted the pandemic as clearly as a sign of changing times and human behavior. That means our behavior. It has given a push to digitalization in education sector. It is important that as educators, we take the responsibility to prepare ourselves and introduce best of online education into the classrooms. In nutshell, I can say that it's not the time for us to sit and relax, whereas it's a time for us to get ready and to fight. Really, it's a wonderful session by Mr. Jacob, and of course we'll be going ahead the question answer session once all the panelists they have finished their discussion. So I was just by hearing the words of Jacob sir, I was just adding one uh, picture in my screen. I thought that will be quite useful to share on this session. I think this picture is visible to you all. See, here it's the picture shows that there are two options in front of us. Either we should sit and relax by using all the opportunities in front of us, by using that opportunities in the wrong way. You can see it's a self-explanatory in the picture. Otherwise, as Jacob sir mentioned, get ready instead of removing the pedals of the ladder. Just keep the pedals there and climb the ladder towards success. Thank you so much for your thought-provoking words once again, sir. So it's the time for turning towards the second panelist. He will be talking about the impact of blended learning. That's none other than the principle of ideal Indian school, our Shaukat Ali sir. So it's my pleasure to have an introduction with his latest what I can say career that I would like to just to give a nutshell. He is a dedicated, a resourceful, and goal-driven professional educator with a solid commitment to the social academic growth and development of every child. Professional educator with a diverse experience of more than 24 years as principal and with a strong track record in fostering child-centered curriculum and students' creativity. It's so happy to say that he was the second rank holder in his post graduation and he has got the gold medal in animal physiology and biochemistry paper. No doubt, he is a subject expert in biology. He worked as granting committee member for Minority Commission and it was appointed by the governor of Karnataka. Over and above, right now, he is working as the principal of Ideal Indian School by bearing the additional responsibility of the treasurer of the Gulf Sahodaya CBSE Council. So it's my pleasure and privilege to invite you and to take over this session in your hand for discussing about the topic blended learning, its impact on future education. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Shibu sir, dear moderator. Good evening, each one of you. Assalamu alaikum, my dear teachers and friends. Shibu sir, let me share my screen. If you please switch off. Today is the great day for all of us. We, the principals of Qatar chapter, decided to have series of webinars for enlightening ourselves as well as teacher. Yesterday, it happened to be death anniversary of the greatest teacher, APJ Abdul Kalam, our former president. I felt from all of us, a small tribute can be given at this juncture. I have put one quote which was given by APJ Abdul Kalam. The purpose of education is to make good human beings with skills and expertise. Enlightening human beings can be created by teachers. Teachers, you are really great. Learning beyond COVID-19. What does the pandemic teach us? We are moving to a completely new world of blended learning, even post COVID-19, as there will be no return to old normal in most aspects of our life. Then what is blended learning? Blended learning is an approach to learn the class combiningly with face-to-face learning as well as online learning module. Education underwent paradigm shift as we teachers. We shifted ourselves from physical classrooms of teaching one-to-one to the students to online system of education. Early adopters have experimented with various media format and delivery options, realizing that blended learning works best in this scenario. As we know that Qatar government already started informing the schools that we need to start the schooling from September 1st. We principals started planning for SOPs, and we know that the future education will be only and only blended learning. And what exactly is blended learning? Blended learning is learning that facilitated by effective combination of different modes of delivery, modules of teaching, and styles of learning, and applying them in interactively meaningful learning environment. If you want me to define it in the simplest way, I can define blended learning as combination of online and offline learning, combination of old traditional learning as well as new online learning. But, dear friends, since I am also a biology teacher, I believe in teaching. As Shibu sir told that good teacher will demonstrate. I'll redefine that definition in a different way. I'll tell it as good teacher will be a good student first. Good teacher always prepare well for his or her class. It either may be blended form, or either it may be online form, or either it may be physical form. This will go on. And in Qatar, as we know that the teachers are highly dedicated and highly committed. When teachers are highly dedicated or highly committed, they can do any kind of learning, or they can teach students in any form. First model, which is called as face-to-face model, this is called as brick and mortar classroom, where we are teaching students, 30-35 students in the classroom physically, where we can have all kind of activities in the classroom. Second one, virtual classroom, where we are teaching them online, where we are going and teaching all kind of skills. And when you combine together in the center I have mentioned, combining together, that is called as blended learning. Dear teachers, we started teaching as a teacher in the form of face-to-face model or brick and mortar model. And we took no time to learn technology and move ahead and went ahead. Every teacher adapted themselves. They became techno-savvy. They learned technology. They started recording their videos, placing in the YouTube. That we call it as flipped classroom. They started using different platforms like Zoom, Google Classroom, Microsoft Teams, Skype, and other various platforms to teach online to the students, because we know that the learning should go on. The students should learn, relearn, unlearn is a philosophy of every teacher, including me and all teachers who are working as a panelist today, Dear friends, why can't we take this corona as a positive thing? And it has taught us a very good lesson that we came to know that there is some education which is happening through online. There is some education which is happening from years in the form of blended learning. Believe me, blended learning started in USA 10 years back. But we were not using it, we were not knowing it until this pandemic came. And when the pandemic came, we started feeling that this virus started from Wuhan. As you know, this is the RNA virus, and virus will contain only two material, protein and RNA. This virus started spreading across the globe like wildfire. According to WHO, now 1.6 billion children are learning from home. 1.6 billion children are learning online. 1.6 billion children, it is not a joke. And technology has affected us, and technology has given this opportunity to do this activity or teaching online. And technology is playing a vital role in almost everyone's life. Everybody became techno-savvy. And blended learning will be the future school. It will go on, it will remain in future also. Recently, there was an article in Times of India. It was given that CBSE as well as NCERT are planning for blended kind of schooling and hybrid learning mechanism. This will continue in future also. Now, how we can implement blended learning? Dear teachers, I know you all know and you are doing all these things in your classrooms. But I felt I again redefine it. What is blended learning? You can make it as in this form I have given in this diagram, in this picture. First one, direct instruction. Teacher can either physically teach the child or virtually she can teach the child. Synchronous or asynchronous manner. I'll define what is synchronous and asynchronous. Synchronous means what? The child can interact with the teacher anytime, always. Asynchronous means what? These are flipped classrooms where teachers will record video and put it in the YouTube, and children cannot interact with the teacher or instructor. So that kind of learning is called asynchronous learning. No, either synchronous or either asynchronous, either virtual or remote learning, direct instruction will be the first learning mechanism in blended learning form. Second one, peer-to-peer coaching. Dear teachers, as we all know that CBSE started hub learning, collaboration learning. Now, even CBSE want children to children collaborate, peer learning, teacher to teacher learning, principal to principal learning, children to children learning. It is nothing but peer learning. Please understand, the knowledge shared is knowledge gain. The knowledge shared is knowledge gain. How much ever you know, if you share with your fellow friends, it is good for you. And peer learning will have more impact rather than rote learning or understanding and reading. So peer learning plays a very vital role in blended learning. Third one, increasing competency will happen only when you go ahead and teach peer learning. Whenever we do peer learning, increase in competency of any individual will happen. When competency increase, and any teacher can focus on mastery of any education. Mastery, you can make a child mastery in any particular subject. Then virtual learning platform is going on as usual. Very important is inquiry-based or project-based learning. As we already principals started sharing teachers that in each chapter, dear teachers, you find out learning outcomes, outcome of learning, outcome of every chapter. And NCERT has given alternative calendar, alternative academic calendar. And even CBS is telling integrate one subject to other subject. Chapter to chapter linking is required. Learning on the basis of project is required. Learning on the basis of case study is required. Learning beyond classroom is required. Learning every time it is required. Child should be given liberty to learn anytime. Child should be given a liberty to learn always. Child should be given liberty to interact. And child should be given opportunity to expose his skills. So project-based learning will be a part of blended learning. Then technology integration is playing a vital role in blended learning. And lastly, global connection. See, global connection, as you know, internet has connected everywhere. We all of us are connected with internet. And now we are doing webinar because of technology only. And making learning joyful will happen when you make learning as game-based learning. Children will enjoy the classroom when you make learning as game-based learning. Children will understand better when you make learning as game-based learning. Children will understand well when you make learning as game-based learning. You can conduct quiz. You can use various apps. Give a lot of apps are coming nowadays. You can use and make the learning as game-based learning. All this together, we call it as blended learning. Now, I was discussing earlier that there are two types of learning, but blended learning can happen in two forms, either synchronous way or asynchronous way. I am explaining first asynchronous. Asynchronous means complete work each week on your schedule. So here, children will decide their schedule. We don't have to tell what has to be done. Receive immediate feedback on quizzes. Children can do this. Schedule group work when it is most convenient for everyone. Most convenient for everyone. Then synchronous learning. Attend classes virtually each week with instructor and classmates. Participate in real-time discussion during classes. Improve presentation skills. Now, when you combine together, what will happen? Attend classes from everywhere, communicate regularly with instructor, network and making connection with classmates. This together, everything, synchronous, asynchronous, when you join together, this will become, what is that one? Blended learning. Now, last slide of mine, this one. Now the role of teacher is changed. Since, as we all know that, the teachers are now called as facilitators. Times of India is telling that now teachers will become mentors, not teachers. Teachers are mentors. Teachers will become mentors. And I always tell to my teachers that if you are not updated, you are outdated. If you are not updated, you are outdated. So we have to update ourselves every day. And now the vital role of teacher is to understand emotional intelligence of a child, to understand the emotional balance of a child, to understand the psychometry of a child. This is very important nowadays in the classroom. Let it be virtual form or let it be in a physical form or traditional method, the emotional intelligence will play a vital role in future. As Jacob sir told, one size will not fit all. Now teachers should plan different lesson plan. Teachers should plan the lesson plan which will be like tailor-made for each child. Teachers should plan a lesson plan for a child who is a slow learner. Teachers should plan a lesson plan for a child who is learning in a proper way. So there should be a different lesson plan. And this is called as personalized learning platform. That is called as personalized learning platform, or we can define it as one more way, differentiated learning. It is better to tell it as personalized learning platform. Now the role of teacher is changing in 21st century. And dear teachers, at this juncture, I'll tell you that you try to adapt the technology. There will be one day that nobody will bother what is your degree, nobody will bother what is your experience, but there will be a day how you are using technology in best possible way, the people will question that. And how you are using technology in a best way in the classroom, how you are using technological resources in best way in the classroom, that will be counted rather than how much experience you have, what is your qualification, what is your experience. Nobody will question, only the technology importance or technological knowledge will play a vital role in future. And dear teachers, keep one thing in the brain. Every teacher has one role, is engaging the learners. Very important it is. Because it is not easy on virtual platform to make a child engaged. Until and unless the teacher become interactive in the class, if the teacher does not interact with the student, the teacher cannot teach virtually. What will happen? Student will switch on this computer like this laptop and he will play with the mobile at the other side with other gaming and all. So we have to interact, keeping children engaged, that is really required. Guiding the children to learn in a proper way, because now the learning has become not teacher-centric learning. The learning has become like self-oriented learning. The learning, what is happening is called self-oriented learning. If you want me to tell in one more way, children-oriented learning. If a child is interested, he will learn either in virtual platform or remote platform or blended classrooms or either in flipped classrooms. But it is what self-interest of a child plays vital role. So teachers will be a guide for learning. Then lastly, one more role of teacher is foster collaboration. So there are 17 schools now. Yesterday I came to know there are 17 schools in Qatar now. Alhamdulillah, it is good sign. CBSE schools are growing. When there are 17 schools in Qatar, now all teachers of 17 schools should collaborate themselves to learn, to collaborate themselves to relearn, to collaborate themselves to understand each other, to collaborate themselves to share the knowledge. That is very much required in future, in 21st century. And dear teachers, remember, as principals, we all are here to help you in every way, but it is your duty to learn, relearn, unlearn. So with this, I'll start concluding my last slide I'll show. Remember, thank you one and all, but before that, I'll share Albert Einstein's thought. Life is like riding a bicycle. To keep your balance, you must keep moving. Thank you one and all. And I especially thank my technical team for organizing this webinar very nicely. Thank you one and all. Thank you, moderator, and Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you so much, sir, for your thought-provoking words. It was indeed quite interesting to hear the different concepts that you have shared. And before going to the next panelist, I would like to just have a highlight of the points discussed by our Shaukat Ali sir. See, as you have mentioned, that the role of teachers on this particular situation, he has clearly narrated how competent the teacher should be, particularly in which areas. So what I would like to tell you on this, with his permission, that as he mentioned, the teacher should be no doubt, should be highly competent, highly technologically saved, because the children in the modern era, they are quite able enough to grab any information other than or without the help of teachers. They don't want a normal teacher in the classroom, because what they are going to get from a normal teacher, more than that, they can get by using different types of sort of online platforms. It's quite easily available. Jacob sir, the first panelist, have clearly mentioned his panel discussion. There are a lot of plenty of online free platforms are available by the government authorities and even by private organizations. So what I want to tell you, if you want to be a teacher along with your technological skill, please, you should be able to explain in between two lines another 20 more lines. These 20 more lines that you are going to explain in between two lines, the children will never ever find from any platforms. That's called the competency of the teacher. If you are simply reading the lines written in the textbook, no need of a teacher in the classroom, because they can get the lines from anywhere, from the textbook, they can read and they can understand. But if you can read in between two lines, another 20 lines, which is not written in the textbook, which is not available in Google, definitely you will be a competent teacher. Thank you so much, sir, for your wonderful words. And on the basis of the points discussed by Shaukat sir, I would like to just ask a question to all the viewers here. What do you prefer on this particular situation? I believe this is the right time to ask such a question. What do you prefer? You prefer a remote learning or blended learning? Because we are about to reopen the school. So we would like to know your feedback also, because I believe that a majority the teachers are here. A lion's share of teachers have joined in this session. So I would like to ask, in your view, what do you prefer? Are you preferring remote learning or blended learning in due course of time under this COVID-19 pandemic situation? You can just drop your suggestions or your points in the chat box so that we will be able to understand later on. So to begin with the next panelist, our next panelist is Mr. MP Philip. He is the principal of Bhavan's Public School, Doha-Qatar. It's my pleasure again to have a few words about our Philip sir. He is the principal of Bhavan Public School since 2015. He has held the position of a principal for last 14 long years at schools including at DAV Public School, Visakhapatnam, Alfine Public School in Kerala, and at Bhavan's Public School in Doha. He holds a master's in economics and a BA and PG DCS. Mr. Philip holds an experience of 28 years in the field of education. Prior to Bhavan's, Mr. Philip have worked as a teacher at the Birla Public School in Pilani in Rajasthan, as a PGT Economics at St. Paul's Public School, Hyderabad. Mr. Philip, during his course of teaching and as a principal, has expertly guided children and parents at several gatherings, seminars, and convocations, and has closely watched the behavior of children, their study pattern, disorders in learning, and have reviewed, analyzed, and implemented appropriate solutions wherever feasible. He is a very active member of Qatar chapter, and he will be talking today in particular about the topic So it's my pleasure that you can take over the responsibility. You can go ahead. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Shibu. Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Chelod Seriagum, Chelod Seriagilla. Sorry to those who didn't understand it. The meaning is certain trials are successful and certain others are not successful. It is a universal law. I think some of you have watched this in the YouTube recently. It is told by one ordinary student of class 4 from India. Chelod Seriagum, Chelod Seriagilla. Certain trials are successful while certain other trials are not successful. That child did not belong to any elite schools. He belonged to one of the ordinary schools. And as educators, teachers, and those who are attending, the invitees, there may be educationists even who may be in the audience. One thing from my experience, what I understood, we all talk for the students, but we never think of them. Why should they be always successful in their all attempts? If a child of class 4 has got the wisdom to understand, some trials may not be successful, and the child, if you watch that video, we will see that how comfortably the child is telling that some trials are not successful. Now, in the present scenario, the pandemic situation, we the principals, managements, policy makers, teachers, students, and parents, these are all the stakeholders of education and schooling. We all find the children are facing the problem, but we think it is our problem. But we seldom think about the tensions, the problems that is faced by the children. So what will be the current system of education that is going on, and what will be going on in the minds of the students? They find sometimes it is comfortable because they need not go to the school. They need not get up in the morning. They need not get the rebuke of the teachers. They need not complete certain work. They need not attend some examinations, which is sometimes a nightmare for them. So this is the ordinary thinking of the students. But in lower classes, I don't think the children will not be having this type of thinking because they are not able to do that. But the children of secondary and senior secondary, they may think like that. But at the same time, they have the tension of their future also. So the online platform, learning platforms were available. They were available before also. But why they didn't get that much popularity? Because this is due to the difference between actual learning and virtual learning. It will be like taking an artificial flower and a natural flower. That much difference is there, because they learn a lot of things other than knowledge when they come to the school. Now in this situation, the children also will start thinking, what is the alternative? We have to go along with this pandemic or something else in the future. Now the policymakers, parents, students, principals, teachers, everybody has to think how to cope up with the situation. So, chalaudu sheriyagum, chalaudu sheriyagilla. Some attempts, some trials may be successful, some trials may not be successful. And let us learn from this particular saying, which is a universal law. And we should always give us mental support to the parents as well as to the students. There is a lot of panic among parents as well as the students. And that confidence we should have. Anything comes, we should give the confidence to the students as well as the parents to face it. Instead of, you see a number of apps are available. It is fishing in the muddled waters. These apps were available earlier also. Now they understood the schools are closed and it is the best time to sell it at a competent price. Some schools may be sometimes taking this and giving to the parents or students and advocating. But in my opinion, it is my personal opinion, these things are not substitute for actual teaching or learning. The online classes are good, but it also has got a delinking of the presence of the teacher. The child may be doing something else. Technology is a tool which can be used, there is no doubt. All these platforms can be used, but it is not an area where the human activities are not entertained or the teacher's presence is required. So the children will think in a different way. Their thinking is getting changed, and we have to wait and watch now, especially the children who have not faced this situation earlier. Now, when it is coming to whether it is parents, because another stakeholder is parent. So now, have they got any kind of tensions at home? Early, the parents were sending the students to the school. They thought the teachers will take care of them. Now, for the last few months, all over India and elsewhere, and you can say other countries also, the children are sitting at home and studying online. And that if we ask the teachers, how do they respond? What percentage of the students are actually liking these classes? A study is required. It is not like that whatever we are transmitting from the school or by screen sharing or using any ready-made learning platform, I don't think they are enjoying. But as there is no other option, they will be doing it. And some teachers make it more attractive by various means. So the parents are now playing a greater role at home. But there may be the other side also. The parents may be thinking sometimes it is some kind of convenience for some people, because they need not make the children to get up to make them ready. There is no need of buying uniform. There is no need of buying certain things and sending them, or no need of spending on transportation and all. But that will be only a very, very less percentage of parents. But most of them, they feel that the children are actually getting a loss by sitting at home. But as the situation demands now, and they are concerned about the safety of the children, we have to find alternatives. So the thinking changes, because earlier the children used to enjoy in the school. Now they are getting tensions and confusions within four walls of home, and also a lot of compulsions from parents' side. We know that when the parents are always selfish for their children, so they will be always compelling them to study. So this also makes them mentally uncomfortable, and this leads to sometimes psychological turmoil and tantrums also at home. Anyway, these things are to be discussed and these things are to be addressed. So there is a change in the thinking pattern of parents. There is a change in the thinking pattern of students, and there is in teachers. Now coming to the teacher side, and we are the people who are providing these services. The teachers, including whether it is principal or the school. So what happens when we start the virtual classes? Earlier, the teachers used to teach within 4 walls in the classroom. It was, the teacher was the king in the classroom. Now, the teacher is exposed. The teacher's teaching tactics, technique, and style is publicized. Now, the teachers have to prepare more than what they were doing earlier, because it is being observed by the students, by the parents, by the public, by the authorities, by peer group elsewhere. So it has become something like the teacher will be the most vulnerable component in schooling when we start this type of online classes. Now, I am not talking about the screen sharing. This can be done by anybody. But when the real actual classroom teaching, the virtual classes are going on, we can understand, as Mr. Shivu told, the resourcefulness of the teacher is completely exposed when an actual online classes is being conducted. So the teachers become technologically able and they will prepare themselves. Their skills are being enhanced. There is a positive side. And the other side, we can negate, or we have to find out the solutions or some kind of methods to address it. Then coming to the next stakeholder is the school management. So the management, the people who are at the helm of affairs, who decide the policies of the school. It is not the general policies. Now, in this situation, earlier they thought the building and furniture, everything is provided, education is provided. But now they found there are certain educational rules are there. There are certain specifications are there. Now, suppose we want to continue with the students in the classroom. Here comes the importance of ventilation, air, lighting, space, sanitation. All those things were there. But now the school managements are also thinking in the line. So the importance of all these, not like early they used to think somehow it will go. No. So there is a paradigm shift in their thinking to enhance the facilities, to enhance the quality of what they provide, because schooling is the product of educational institutions, that is education. So we require hardware also to provide these services. So that is also being changed. Now coming to the policy makers. In this one, educational leaders will come, the government will be there, then educationists will be there, social thinkers will be there. So what is their role? Because when a situation has come like this, where the children cannot be taken to the school as usual before, what should be the next? So they have to find out an alternative system. As Mr. Shaukat Ali was telling about blended learning. See, now we started thinking, when a problem comes, it is not like that we are going to stop somewhere. When a challenge is there, it is the time that we have to think novel and new things and innovations. So it is not like that early the students used to study only at school. Now we are thinking blended learning. Partially they will be learning at school and partially at home. Because the reason is there. The children cannot be taught because knowledge is free. It is available at the fingertips. But the children are studying in the school not only for knowledge, there are a lot of things. And these things are taught at school. It cannot be taught through online or any software providers or online platform providers cannot give that life which is given by the teacher for a subject in the classroom, where he is transmitting the values, the systems, the manners, and all those things cannot be taught through virtual classes, because the fragrance of the real flower can be enjoyed when you are near to or within that area. So like that, when they come to the school and with the teachers, and then only they learn. So there will be a change in the post-COVID-19 time, because this may be one of the pandemic in one of the century. Many are to come or may come, because now we have to see that how to sustain or how to live, how to get along with any kind of dangers or this type of accidents in future also. So let's have this changes in the thinking pattern of all the stakeholders of the school, whether it is the teacher, the student, the parent, the policymakers, or the management, because they are the stakeholders. So they have to have a change in their thinking style, because we have to accept facts and then to act. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Philip sir, for your wonderful words. Actually, with a short span of time, you have taken all the people into another world, because the points what you have shared, it's really quite interesting, and we need to look into the points whatever you have discussed here. As you discussed about thinking patterns of stakeholders, I believe this is the right time to give a glimpse of attention to the topic, or to the one of the worst problems the world is facing today. When we, as the stakeholders of the school, maybe as teachers, as principals, or as management, we are talking about how the children can be provided with quality education, how the children can be provided even amidst of all these obstacles, the opportunity for education. But very comfortably, we are forgot even today to the current information, 72 million number of children throughout the world, they are not having any access to the education. This is not because of this current pandemic situation. This is a common scenario, common phenomena going on throughout the world. As we are educators, as we are teachers, we have obligation. Even we cannot alone do anything, but at least we can do something. We need to at least keep in mind that why it's happened, how it's happened. So the situation of this pandemic really taught us a lot of lessons, no doubt. The people start understanding each other, the people start understanding simplicity. All these are the lessons that we have learned from this pandemic. As Philip sir have clearly mentioned that the teachers, the school stakeholders, when they think that the education to be provided, imparted to the children, definitely we will find a way. There is no doubt into this matter. And as he mentioned about these challenges that we are facing, because you have clearly mentioned about one of the video that is viral in YouTube. See, from that video, as you mentioned, what I have understood that I want to clear with this picture. See, whenever in the life challenges are there, problems are there, we feel that that is the end of everything, that we are under the soil, nothing can be done over and above. But over a period of time, just like the seed get it germinated, we will come to know that it's not the end, it's only a new beginning. Likewise, when this pandemic affected, we were thinking that nothing can be done for education, for imparting education to the children. But throughout the world, the educators, they started thinking, what's the solution? And that's why, even under these limitations, whatever it is, we have all the schools throughout the world, they have conducted online platform by using the online platform in effective way of teaching. So thank you so much for your thought-provoking words. And I would like to take all the participants' attention for a while to the previous topic discussed by Shaukat Ali sir. I was asking a question to the participants, what's your preference? Is it remote learning or blended learning? I was getting quite a lot of answers in the chat box and question answer session. most of them, they highly prefer blended learning. They are not preferring the remote learning because they know the limitations. They know it's our responsibility to give the best to the future generations. So they prefer the blended learning only. So it's the time that I should go ahead with the last panelist. It's the point what she will be discussing also. It's a matter of quite relevance here. So this is Mrs. Pramila Kannan. She is the principal of Greenwood International School and Kindergarten. She's an English graduate with B.Ed and postgraduate in early childhood education. She also holds diploma in leadership education from Asian International College, Singapore. Cambridge International Diploma in Teaching and Learning is another diploma she is holding. She is having 18 years of rich experience in Velamal Edu Network schools, both in state syllabus and central board syllabus in Chennai. There she worked with a team of 4,000 students, 350 teachers, and 18 coordinators. She received a Velamal Trailblazer Award in 2017. It's the prime time for you, Mrs. Pramila Kannan. You can go ahead with your topic. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shibu sir. Good evening to everyone. I take immense pleasure to be a part of this webinar conducted by CBSE Gulf Sahodaya Qatar Chapter Principals Forum. At this juncture, I would like to thank Dr. Subhash Nair, the chairman, the chapter convener, Mrs. Hamida Kader, moderator, Mr. Shubu, and the other co-speakers from principals from all the eminent schools in Qatar. So to start with, what is my topic? What is that I'm going to talk about is very important right now, and also mostly shared or discussed by all the co-speakers already. But it's my responsibility to talk about few more things which we are supposed to concentrate or focus on during the post-COVID situation, this COVID-19. So challenges are what makes life interesting, and overcoming them is what makes life meaningful. I would like to start the session thinking that the entire webinar will be redundant at the end because of all our prayers. As Jacob sir rightly said in the beginning, there could be a vaccination like identified or invented. Couldn't it happen before we stop the webinar is my wish. So we live in a tough and unpredictable phase of life like COVID pandemics. Many newly emerged challenges staring at us in live with COVID era. So before moving into my topic, challenges faced post COVID-19, I would like to do a small exercise with all my teachers. Teachers, I hope you are all eagerly waiting what could be the exercise. Let us all give a pat on our shoulders and say, well done. Let's all say, not only the teachers, the school leaders, every one of us, shall we all say that we have done a wonderful job for this during this COVID-19 situation? So having said that, teachers are the heroes. When there were so many people, when there was just, well, let's rewind our situation few months before, how was the situation? None of us were not very clear. What are we going to do when schools were closed? The school gates were closed and we were all told to work from school. Students stayed at home and parents became even an equal partner in teaching and learning process. So what was our situation? We were all literally in panic situation. What are we going to do further? But at that time, teachers, all of us did not rest or lie behind. We all took the challenge in our hand and started preparing for all e-learning platform. So the course of the months, during the course, lot of learning happened as all the speakers spoke, completely covered all the topics or the content what I'm supposed to, but I'm very, very happy that all of us were talking about the same thing. What are the challenges we are going to face post COVID-19? So at this juncture, teachers, let us take a great privilege in appreciating ourselves. If not we, who is going to come and appreciate us? So having said that, let's move on to the topic. What is that we are going to talk about is challenges faced post COVID-19. So I'm going to talk about, this slide is going to talk about the challenges faced by the stakeholders. As Philip sir rightly spoke about the stakeholders. Now I have selected few stakeholders here. It is the teachers, parents, school leaders, management, and finally students. So all of us put together, in one finger, we are not going to make any noise, or the two fingers does not make any noise. But the teachers, parents, school leaders, students, and the management put together, definitely we are going to make noise in terms of the paradigm shift what the educational field is taking today. So to move on to the next slide, what are the emerging challenges waiting ahead for all of us? Keeping our children engaged, keeping them engaged in the after they come back to the school. Safety and infra is what very predominantly going to put us in a big question mark. And continuity of learning, and finally the mental and emotional stability of all the students, maybe students and the teachers or the staff around us. So this is what is going to, these are the challenges what we are going to look into the presentation today. Okay, so the challenges what we are going to see here is collaborative. In terms of education, in terms of teaching learning process, what have you done? What have we done? We have moved from, not only we, the students, teachers, everybody moved from a collaborative education to distance education. Collaborative, all of them spoke about collaborative. Syed sir spoke wonderfully about collaborative learning and blended learning. So we have moved from such kind of collaborative learning situation, because in a classroom, a lot of learning happens with the students, and then from there, they take the learning outcome predominantly. From collaborative learning, we have moved to a distance learning. And then if you see, from physical environment, children move around the school, children made whatever the choices they wanted to, they did it in the school, everything changed into a virtual platform. They have no choice, they were just looking at the screen and the animated videos. Then from that, we have to move into peer learning. There was a lot of the maximum learning happens with the peers. That is what very rightly all the speakers spoke. Peer learning is the one which is very predominantly happening in this classroom, which we are failing to observe what is happening in the class. So from peer learning, it has been moved to a perspective learning. What and how I learn, what I understand is become the complete learning of a child. From that, an interactive session. I have a question to all my teachers. Teachers, could you please tell me or post something in the chat box? What is that makes your classroom active and vibrant? What makes your classroom active and vibrant? What creates an enthusiasm for all the teachers in the classroom? Can anyone say, or some of you can just send it in the chat box? Yes, it is the questioning techniques. The number of questions the teachers shoot at the children, and the children, the number of questions, the varieties of questions children come out with, it's make the classroom active and vibrant. I think all teachers agree with me that the questioning technique, interactive session or the interactive class is only because of the questions raised in the classroom. So we have no choice now. From interactive session, we have moved into an individual session. So there is no participants or nobody to share the ideas what I have. All the most during the live classes, we say mute your volume because there are a lot of disturbances behind you. So this is what, as Philip has said, we are not thinking, we don't think that we are doing a miracle or a great job in terms of live classes or remote learning. Our children are missing a major learning opportunity. So from interactive session, it has moved into an individual learning session. Finally, hands-on experiences have become unapplied experiences. Hands-on experiences, what I see, I remember, but what I do is what I understand and I apply. So whatever the activities or the content we teach, especially for the mathematics or science concepts, the hands-on experience is what makes the learning more effective. But something is mostly that is all missing, and it has been shifted to unapplied. So whatever I learn, it's all about the animated videos, what I see. So these are the challenges right now we are facing in terms of remote learning and the live sessions. So moving on to the other challenges, what we have to concentrate is the continuity of learning. So there is an enormous learning happened for past 2-3 months during through the remote learning. Okay, so what are we going to do in future? Are we going to stop what they have learned? No. As rightly Syed sir told, in blended learning, it has to be a partial of what they have learned in the live session and what are they going to learn in the regular schooling or the physical environment, what they're going to do. So collaborative learning, and actually I have put it in a different journal, but Syed sir rightly said, like, everything comes under the broader perspective of blended learning. So collaborative learning and blended learning, and moving on to the multidisciplinary experts. So when children come back, they're going to come back with a lot of energy in them because they have been caged for months together. So they're going to come out with a lot of colorful energy, colorful dreams. So how are we going to sustain it is a big challenge in front of the teaching fraternity. So multiple disciplinary activities definitely is going to help us. I'm not going to take you deep into the concept because all the experts have already spoken about it and we have no time to discuss in deep. So next, moving on to that is a project-based learning. Definitely this is going to be, and be it a group activity, be it an individual activity or a small group activity, the project-based learning is going to kindle the exploration mindset of all the students. Their children are going to be inquisitive and they're going to learn a lot of things. So let's focus on the project-based learning. And finally, the educational adventure is what is going to happen when we start continuing the learning process from the remote learning to the normal school learning. Moving on to the next thing, safety and hygiene is something what all of us have to focus right now, because this is going to be a real challenge for all of us, especially for all the stakeholders, leaving the students, others have to focus on it. School, it's a shared responsibility. Let us not think that the safety and hygiene is not a part of a teacher's job. It is a part of a housekeeping job. That is nothing going to be work out from the management end. It is not like that. The student safety and hygiene starts from when they step into the transport or step out from home, and when they go back to their house. The safety and hygiene is what we are going to keep really, which is what going to keep us in a challenge really. So first one is ambience, and the ministry, the Qatar ministry has sent a circular stating all the precautionary measures what every school is supposed to take it. And as Syed sir told, we are going to reopen the school by September 1st. So we have to keep focusing on the ambience, keep the ventilation, ventilated room, and then a sterilized room, and a room with a spacious a classroom and a well-arranged furniture is what we have to focus on. So next is a social distancing. I think my kindergarten and primary teachers will raise your hand for this concept. It is going to be a difficult task for keep them away from their peer or the friends. Isn't it, teachers? Yes, because they are out of the cage, as I already told you, and it is going to be difficult for us to maintain them, the social distancing. But no matter what, we keep talking about what they're supposed to do in the classroom is also matters. Then sanitization, yes, all of us know wherever we go in Qatar, the temperature check, the sanitizing of the hands or the gloves. Actually, when today I was talking to my children in the live class about this, enormous answers came out. Like I asked them, when you are going to come back to the school by September 1st, what are you going to do? And most of my tiny tots came out with amazing answers telling that we are going to do this, we are going to do that, wear a gloves, wear a mask. So they're also educated, but it's our duty just to keep them in the place, keep them giving the awareness on time. And the final one is awareness of students, teachers, and stakeholders. And a broader way, if you talk, it is awareness for the stakeholders. Because don't think that we all know what is a situation, pandemic situation going around the world. But in spite of all those things, you know what is a scenario, in spite of all the awareness given, you know what is the scenario in India. The cases are not coming down because people are lagging behind the awareness. So let's not take it for granted. So giving the proper orientation, be it an online orientation or giving them a circular, placing the posters on all the places wherever it is possible is what we are going to do something to face the challenge. Next is stay engaged. How are we going to keep them engaged? They're excited, okay. Their continuity of learning is going to happen, okay. So 100% all of us are going to take care of the safety and hygiene. It's also okay. Like, how are we going to keep them engaged? So utilize the e-platform, which I don't want to talk about anything because all the speakers have given you a number of apps and the websites which is going to help you. And gaming the technology is what we are going to talk about, is also discussed with us by the speakers already. It's going to be very interesting for the children because they should not get bored about coming to school. Because now, when you all observed, all the teachers, those who are taking the live sessions, you would have observed the change in the attitude of all the students. They don't have any fear and they always feel comfortable with their parents' presence next to them. So how are we going to keep them engaged is keep them happy, keep them occupied with the gaming technologies. And this is also going to help us to keep them away from the getting along with the peers or the challenge which we're going to face on the social distancing. So activity-based learning is one of the way we can engage the students actively, and skill enhancement programs to focus a lot on the co-curricular activities, keeping all the precautionary measures in mind, keeping the social distancing in mind. Let's bring out the talent of hidden talents or the talents of students by conducting lots of skill enhancement programs. So moving on to the next one. So I have come to the final slide of my presentation. Challenging faced post COVID-19 is mental and emotional stability of students and teachers, maybe the stakeholders. What are we going to do? As I was talking from the beginning about the wait time, about the students coming out from their home or from the mindset of live streaming classrooms or the mindset of remote learning. Just give them wait time. Wait time is very important for them to settle down in the classroom and start the regular classes. And as I already spoke about the awareness, don't forget to give awareness every now and then. Every time, our first talk should be what is the expected activities they are supposed to do in the class. And next is listen. I request all the teachers, let's all lend our listening ears to our children because it is very important. Listening to them is what makes the situation easier, better, and further less challenges we can face actually. And set ground rules. We have to set ground rules when they come in. These are the rules we have to follow. These are the set of rules, are the essential agreements we are going to have. You do something, and as a teacher, I will also do something. You follow this, I will also follow this. So when you set the ground rules in place, definitely children, and keep talking about the ground rules every day, this is going to help us. And know you are in control. Keep telling the children that you have to be in the control and we are monitoring. You have been observed in all the aspects inside the school. So this is also going to help us to keep the children occupied in the class, to keep the environment safe and secure for the children. And be positive, even if there is a sick child and by chance has come to the school, approach everything, be positive and approach everything in a positive manner so that none of us get panic and get the things worse. So please be positive in taking and because if you are aware of all these things, you are no way going to disturb the mental and emotional stability of a child. So even if you are little harsh or a little not listening to a child when he comes out with some requirement, definitely is going to affect the mental and social ability or the emotional ability of the child. And moving on to the next is be connected. Stay away, stand separated, and but still be connected with the teachers, with your stakeholders, with your students. Stakeholders in terms, I'm talking about the management, your parents. So parents' role in keeping to challenge the challenge is what very important. I think I've made the points which I wanted to express very clear. And thanks for the opportunity. I'm in the next slide. So we don't grow when things are easy. We grow when we face challenges. So let's all take everything in a sportive way. Let's challenge the challenge and get ready to start the school by September 1st. Thanks for the opportunity. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Pramila. It was indeed a thought-provoking session. But to mention a few of the highlights or the takeaway, what I felt really, I would like to mention mainly about the emotional stability point, whatever you have discussed, and multidisciplinary experts approach, and the real challenges we are going to face once the school reopen about the hygiene, maintaining social distance. So really, the real challenge we are going to mention once the school reopen, because so far, as one of our panelists mentioned, we were not in the front line. We were in the second row, but now we are going to be in the frontline fighters. And as you mentioned, maintaining or enabling the children to maintain the emotional intelligence, as we know that it's a quite non-terminology to all the people about IQ, EQ, and SQ, and even now the RQ, relationship quotient. Because from emotional stability or emotional quotient or social quotient, when the children, when they are not able to maintain a bridge or a balance in relationship quotient, definitely in the future course of life, the children will be facing quite a lot of problems. And it's as educators, it's our responsibility to give proper guidance to the children, whoever they are in our hands. And further, as all the speakers here, we have clearly mentioned uh, the real post-COVID challenges and the opportunities and the stakeholders' role or way of thinking or the blended learning. So, what I would like to tell you, even as the last speaker, Ms. Pramila, you were talking highly about the challenges, post-COVID challenges. So, even the last slide what you have shown, that always the challenges will make us or will help us to grow. So, dear all viewers on this platform, I would like to just share my screen for just giving one simple information about one of the great personality as a life factor. uh, I am sure that some of you might be joining with me, some of you may not be joining with me. But as the topic is about the challenges, how challenges will make us. That's the concept. And one more thing, as Shafil sir mentioned, the competency of teachers. That's also coming here, because when the teachers face challenges, they will find more opportunity. You see, uh, so we'll be going ahead with the question answer session, but prior to that, I'd like to just give this slide to, no doubt, to ask who is this. It will be a wrong question from my side. And there is no need to ask this question also, that we know the fact that Gandhiji was born on 2nd October 1869. And we have learned right from our childhood, we have learned this question. So it's not fair to ask. But my question is not this. My question is this: is it correct? Gandhiji was born on 2nd October 1869. Yes, it's correct. Biologically, it's correct, no doubt. So why I asked this question here? We are teaching the children the facts. That's why I've written this word. We know the fact that Mahatma Gandhi was born on 2nd October. This is a fact. But we are teaching the children also only the facts. We are not teaching the children beyond facts exactly what it is meant. So what I would like to ask you or tell you, Gandhiji was born on the date I have mentioned here, and from 1869 to the age of 24, he was only Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. He was not Mahatma Gandhi. Till the age of 24, he was known to everybody as Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. And this inscript, you can see this plaque, it's there in South Africa, in the Pietermaritzburg railway station. We know the story behind that. I don't want to further narrate the story. Actually, Mahatma Gandhi, the great personality, Mahatma Gandhi, born in 1893 in South Africa, when he was insulted by the white man in the Pietermaritzburg railway station, when he was insulted, even though he was holding all the essential documents and first class compartment ticket when he was thrown away from the compartment. That insult, that challenge what he faced made him to think about why and what next. Because even if you are going through this plate is written there, it's clearly written that M.K. Gandhi was evicted from a first-class compartment on the night of 7th June 1893. This incident changed the course of his life. He took up the fight against racial oppression. His active non-violence started from that date. When Gandhiji started or changed his mind due to this incident, from that day, from Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi to Mahatma Gandhi took over. This is the fact we are supposed to teach our children. There is nothing to learn when we teach our children that Gandhiji was born so and so in Gujarat and Porbandar on this date. Nothing. It's a mere fact. When we teach the children, they should know what's the important and how it's happened from a mere individuality to a great personality. How did he transform? This we should teach the children. We are teaching about Albert Einstein. I have seen many slides with Albert Einstein's very famous quote. No doubt in the world, he is an unquestioned intelligence or with IQ. We are teaching Einstein, but we should teach there is an Einstein or there was an Einstein. He was not recognized by anybody, and the people try to treat him just like a mad fellow before he become a very famous person. So let our teachers have such a way of teaching, such a way of concept clearance in the classroom. As I mentioned before, in between two lines, let the teachers teach another 20 lines. Then only the real teaching will take place. Dear all, it's the right time to go ahead with the question answer session. See, all the four panelists, they have very clearly mentioned, cleared the points, what they want to highlight here. It was crystal clear for all we people. And I have started getting questions in the chat box, and there are another four people, they want to ask questions. Is already the request came. They want to ask questions to each and every panelist separately. I believe that the panelists, you are ready. Can you just, I will read out one by one in the same order of the panelist discussion. So to begin with the question answer session, I would like to start with our first panelist, Jacob sir. And Jacob sir, I would like to read out the question. It's given by the person, and the person is available. It's better that I don't want to read the question. Let the person read. I would like to call upon Mrs. Asha. She is from Bhavan's Public School. She would like to ask a question to you. She can come. You can take over. Mrs. Asha, please.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Good evening to all. And it was a wonderful session that was done by all the speakers, the principals who did it. And my question is to the principal of Olive School, Mr. Jacob. Question is, sir, what do you think of the response of the schools to the pandemic so far?
That's a thought-provoking question.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
I must say it had been excellent. Taking into consideration the fact that there were so many limitations of infrastructure, lack of training, and ignorance of available resources. And now we are almost there. Teachers had to adapt to online learning all of a sudden. And this was more of a reactive approach, if you look at it. And now, and in fact, not proactive. And now it has become more proactive with all these webinars and reconciling to the fact, and understanding the need for blended learning. And we begin to appreciate all these available resources which are to be used to make our teaching learning very effective. Now, technology, therefore, has stepped into the breach and will continue to play a key role in educating the future generation. I hope I have answered your question.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Jacob sir, for your prompt answer. And the question was also indeed a right question to be asked, because I believe that many of the viewers might be having the same doubt in their mind. And by a single person, when Mrs. Asha was asking the question, I believe that it's given answer to many viewers' doubts in their mind. And to go ahead further to the second panelist, Shokutali sir, I believe that you are ready. And here is Mrs. Rama Devi. She is from MES Indian School. She would like to ask a question to you. Mrs. Rama Devi, please.
Good evening. Good evening to one and all.
Good evening, good evening.
It was an amazing session and the takeaways from here are plenty. I have a question for Shaukat Ali sir, Principal Ideal Indian School. Sir, please explain blended learning impact on future education.
Thanks for that question, and very good question you asked. Stay blessed and stay safe. Once again, greetings to all of you. I was seeing the chat box also, and when Shibu sir asked, what will be the future education? I saw the answers. Almost all teachers wrote blended learning. The question of Ramadevi was, what will be the impact of blended learning on teaching learning? Please understand, blended learning will be staying on and it will remain always in future. In future, nobody will see your school building now. The school building will remain like that. But what infrastructure you have got in technology, people will see. Because part of teaching learning system in future will be blended learning only. With blended learning form, we are giving children an opportunity to learn anytime, anywhere. We are giving opportunity for a child to become extra smart. We are giving child to become technologically aware. And we are giving child to become intelligent, intellect. Above all these things, the performance of child will increase. Because blended learning involves both offline and online forms. When blended learning involves both offline and online forms, quite obvious that child will be getting information from various sources. Information is available everywhere in the world, in various forms, various apps. Children will get better knowledge, better understanding of any concept, and the competency of every child will increase with the help of blended learning. But there might be some adverse effect, might be, I'm not telling will be, I'm telling it as a might be, in case if children use this technology for other than studying, for any other activities, then it will be adversely affecting the education system. But in the presence of parents, as we know that parents are surrogate teachers now. And as a teacher now, we are not teaching student itself now, we are teaching entire family. We are teaching entire family is watching you. So there is a need for interception. There is a need for collaboration. There is a need for proper preparation. Blended learning, it will go on and it will remain in future school. That will be the impact on total education. I think I answered the question, but before that, before I conclude, I'd like to thank all of you, because when I was seeing the number of number of people who are viewing this surprise, altogether 1,504 people are there in this webinar. It is great, and this shows the teachers are interested to learn, relearn, unlearn I'm really thankful to each one of you. Thank you, and all.
Thank you, Shaukat Ali sir. You have given the proper and correct answer to the question asked by Mrs. Rama Devi. I believe that she has been cleared with the question what she has asked. And I'm so happy because I was not looking at the participants here. I'm so thankful to you, sir, for giving this information that the 1,400 plus participants are giving this session. It's really quite amazing.
Sir, correction, 1,504, sir, totally.
1,504. It's a really big credit to Qatar chapter. There is no doubt. It's a great job. There is no doubt. I should take a word of appreciation to the chapter convener and the chairman of Gulf Sahodaya. Definitely no words to say. And without further ado, I'd like to take the next question. And I believe, Philip sir, you're ready. And the teacher from Olive International School, Mrs. Rubinder, she would like to ask a question to you. Mrs. Rubinder, you can take over, please.
Good evening, everyone. Indeed, it is a wonderful session. Today, my question is for Mr. MP Philip, Principal Bhavan School. Sir, how does the pandemic affect the thinking patterns of school management and policy makers in the post-COVID era?
Thank you. So in my opinion, it is going to have an effect of quality enhancement, both in terms of infrastructural facilities, as well as staff qualifications and the quality of teaching staff. Because whether it is from the policymaker side or it is from the management side, they always will think they have to have a good impact and an image of the institution, because education is the product what they are giving to the students and parents. So while it has gone to public, once it is a blended learning or if it is online learning, the quality of staff, because there is a trick what is sometimes taken by certain schools, they only give importance to the senior classes and the junior classes as well as KG. They think that anyone can teach. It is completely a wrong notion in my opinion. In my service, what I found, and wherever I sit, I give maximum importance to KG and primary, which is the foundation of the future of children. So once it goes with this type of learning, they will not go only for the results, only for the senior secondary or secondary result. They will see the foundation, because nobody is going to see what is happening. So this type of learning, when it is exposed, they will find that not only the infrastructure or building, the quality of the faculty in the school has to be enhanced, and which is the most important. I find it will be a positive change, because COVID will bring a lot of challenges, and this challenge, because once they know that it is not only the result which comes in the newspaper is going to matter, it is how the children, the tiny tots are dealt in the school. So they will think of having good faculty members in KG, primary, middle, and then only comes it is secondary or senior secondary or colleges. So the future of the child is made at home and then in primary, KG and all. And this is my answer. It is going to have a positive effect on both infrastructural facilities as well as the quality of the one of the stakeholders of the school, that is the teachers. I think I'm clear.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Well spoken, Philip sir. True words, really true words you have mentioned, because there was a time where everybody was giving importance to the school and the school building, importance to the school on the basis of the school building. But now everybody understood that even without that such big buildings also, as educators, we are committed, we are bounded to give quality education to our children. And even I should add one more sentence here, because the school, whatever the infrastructure we have, whatever the building we have, it's only a building. It's only a building without the students, without the teacher inside it. It can be converted, today's school building can be converted tomorrow into another area, to another institution. But when the children are there inside the school, when the teachers are there inside the school, then only it becomes a school building. Let the Almighty give us the opportunity at the earliest to go ahead with our school with the so lovely children to start the regular classes. And I believe, Mrs. Rubinder, your question is properly answered by Philip sir. And to go ahead, the last question to the fourth panelist, I believe Mrs. Pramila, you are ready. And we have Minal Bakshi, ma'am. She's the principal of DPS Monarch. Ma'am, please take over and you can ask the question, please.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Shebu. A very good evening to all of you. And before I ask my question, I would really like to congratulate all the panelists. Indeed, it was a very useful session for all of us. And my congratulations to all the panelists. And it was really very beneficial session. So my question to Ms. Pramila is, as we know now, we are in the preparation of reopening the schools in September. So I just want you to emphasize on a fact that what can be the suggested monitoring tools or a kind of mechanism which can be followed by schools post-COVID?
Okay, thank you, Ms. Meenal. Very, very happy to receive this question from you. I think it is most relevant question because which I did not address it when I was doing the presentation. Actually, what I say, like once we start the school, there are a lot of criteria which we have to focus on. So keeping the academics, administrative issues, everything in mind, I think the assessment called 5W1H. So what is the process we are going to talk about? When are we going to plan it, or when are we going to execute it? Who are the people involved or the stakeholders involved when we do that process? And where is it going to really happen? And why is very important? Why? There is some objective or purpose behind some activity or some initiatives taken should be bring under that why criteria. And finally, how it has to be executed. What are the measures we have to involve in that? What are the criteria we have to bring under the topics like academics or administration? What we are talking about, the ambience, or be it the academic activities, or keeping them engaged with the activity. So this 5W1H, I think it is going to really help us. And also, like constant survey, we have to go for a constant survey until we settle down with the COVID-19 situation. So that will really help us to keep our monitoring system alert. And also, like in terms of academics, continuous and comprehensive assessment in all the classes will definitely help us to keep a track about the academic activities going to happen. I think I've answered or reached your expectation to the question.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you. It was a useful information.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pramila ma'am, for your right answer. And I believe that Ms. Minal got the point what she expected, the answer what she was aspiring for. Anyway, the points, one of the point what you mentioned about the measures that we are going to take, or the monitoring tools that we are supposed to keep ready in hand. Really, it's a matter of point to be noted by all we people, because once the school reopen, it becomes a real challenge for all we people, and we should wait and see how many of us, I mean, including the teachers, will be further turning into what great personalities, because when they are bounded to face and overcome the challenges, no way we will find thousands of solutions, no doubt. And really, this is it was a quite a wonderful session, and I don't know how to give my sincere thanks to all the panelists for a wonderful presentation, and the representatives from the different schools, whatever they have joined with us, and the chapter convener for taking such an initiative, further guided by the whole principles of our Qatar chapter. It's really a matter of pleasure for me. I think this is fine, and I believe all we people, whoever are participating in this session, they have really got some sort of fruit out of this session. No doubt, it was a fruitful session. I think we can formally wind up without much delay further. can we give a word of thanks to Mrs. Hamida ma'am would like to talk something?
Questions there? No.
Hello, everyone. Once again, good evening. Before we conclude, thank you so much for the wonderful session. Let me start off with the moderator. Moderator kept the session lively, and there was a link between every topic, though it was a single entity. There was a link between all the topic. And thank you so much. The moderator kept the session lively. Coming to the panelists, each panelist had a solution for the post-COVID challenge that we are going to face. Particularly, the challenges were specified with the solution that we need to think before we reopen. So I'm sure all the viewers would have a lot of things to carry back home. And it was a real food for thought in order to introspect as to how teachers were able to redefine. And I would like to add one more word, they reinvent. We have made ourselves into a new teacher, collabing with the technology as well as the traditional method. So at this juncture, I would like to thank all the principals of Qatar chapter, Gulf Sahodia chairman, and special thanks to our Shaukat sir from Ideal Indian School, who has made it possible for such a big number to join on a virtual platform. And hats off to his team. I take this opportunity to thank each and everyone who has been a part of this. Also, there is a committee who had designed the certificates. I would like to thank Mrs. Priya and her team. Each and everyone who has contributed will always remain in the annals of Qatar chapter. Have a great evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Hamida ma'am, for your inspirational words. No doubt we will keep the head of Qatar chapter always ahead with the support
No,
and
things
guidance
should
of
move
all.
on. Let us move on.
Okay, good.
Things
Thank you
should
so
move on.
much,
Let
all
us
the
move on.
viewers,
Thank
all
you,
the
one and all.
participants. Congratulations.
Thank you
have
so
done a
much.
great
Thank
job.
you, madam. Thank you, Shubhu sir.
Number
Thank
of
you for
viewers,
all.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you all.
1,405 is the biggest number ever recorded.
1,504.
It's a great job.
1,504. Thank you, sir.
I think this
Shaukat
is
sir, really, it's a good.
Thank
biggest
Very
number
good.
Thank
recorded
you.
ever in the
It
webinar.
is my
Philip
team
sir.
effort. It is my team effort. Thank you one and all.
Mrs.
And
Pramila,
all
fine,
principals'
good.
effort. And all of us took a lot of pain for this. And thanks for all of you.
Mr. Sajid, thank you so much for well coordination. IT department.
Special thanks to the IT department of Ideal Indian School.
I did, yes. I think Sajid is
Thank
not
you.
there.
Thank you very much.
Bye. You can end
Thank
the
you.
meeting.
Thank you, Philip sir. Thank you, Jacob sir. Thank you, Syed
you.
sir.
Thank you one
I
and
think
all.
we can leave now. Thank you so much.
Yes, yes.
Thank you. Bye.
I wanted to answer. I don't know why the.
Shibu sir, can I end the session? Wind up the session?
Yeah,
End the session.
Yeah, sir. Thank you.